Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back in. My name is Upmine, joined here by Sully, and we are backing at it, hopefully fixing some of our issues because we were having some production issues before the break. But hey, I hope we fix them, or at least it somehow stabilizes over the next couple of rounds. Immortals versus Dignitas. We are on split, Sully.
Well, this is a very interesting predicament, especially because Dignitas actually took the first map of Haven 13-11. It was a really good game, a really strange one, a nice string of rounds for both the sides, but now this is actually Dignitas' map pick, which is probably the most interesting part, seeing how Immortals, they will be starting on the defensive half, and well, they kick it off with a bang. 2 frags straight down towards a ramp. There has been a slight change. Shot Up has been subbed out in favor of Shanks. There was actual medical condition going on throughout that first map. Believe it or not, the way he played, it didn't look like there were any issues whatsoever. So he has been swapped out for Shanks. Maybe that does cause some issues for Immortals, but Shanks has slotted into this lineup so well that it seems almost seamless. But dephh is able to get one back. Shanks will have his first kill of the map, and we'll see what else he can get from this one in a 4v2.
MAKKA still in the back line. Same thing with supamen, but supamen is going to be the one drifting around. MAKKA will be able to get one, but Neptune beaming right through the smoke is going to be able to snag the frag for Immortals. Immortals start off the defensive side of split well with a pistol round dub, and that's probably the most important one for them. If they end up winning out the pistol on attacking side, yeah, sure, it's whatever. I mean, right? It is going to be a couple of rounds that you end up discounting away, but if you're Immortals and you see this defensive side of split, you see it as a blessing.
100%, and Dignitas as well, going for a major investment for Stingers. All 5 sets of heavy armor have been bought up. Supamen will be the only one without that unfortunate Stinger, or unfortunately without the Stinger. He'll instead go down to the Sheriff. Didn't have enough to get the SMG, so a Sheriff I think should do. Supamen as well, very sharp on it. He's been looking extremely good with that Sheriff in the last game, or the last map. Nearly had a ninja defuse, a 1 versus 4, 2 shots on the Sheriff, nearly had it if you guys can recall that. But Dignitas in this one, slow. Looked like a default from the very beginning, but instead they'll go back towards middle, and Genghsta, he's really the only thing that waits here. He does have Neptune not too far off of him, but he'll make the first contact, and Neptune will be looking to swing. Charge in the face, 2 kills to the wayside, but it won't be for Genghsta. Instead, it will be for Neptune. A paint shell grenade at the bottom of MAKKA's feet, but he does still continue to aggress. Shanks will find the frag back, and well, that puts them now in a 3v1 where Dignitas, they walked in with Stingers, and they walk out with only just the 1 man of Supamen.
Supamen in the back lines. Tries his hardest, but it's gonna be Shanks with a frag. And again, we see you guys in chat. Don't worry, don't stress. We know exactly what's going on with the FPS. Or no, we know that there's an issue, but
we don't know.
We don't know how to fix it. Community stream is what it is, but looks like things are stabilizing little by little. I don't know why. I think it might be the map of split, where like some maps are like more rendered than others, because like right now it seems fine. It looks fine. But I think later on in the round, it might get a little bit rough. Maybe if we go over towards A or something of the sort. Don't know yet. But hey, no, actually looking at the setup now for the boys in Dignitas, it's going to be 3 over towards the A sites and a little bit of a split in mid. Really just trying to find a couple of frags to make this economically damaging towards the defensive side. Really just force them to reinvest. But Dignitas is really not looking for anything other than that really in this round. Supamen does have the Sheriff over towards mid. Not going to be able to connect anything. Now in comes dephh. He's absolutely nuts. Going to be able to get himself a second. Why not? 3 players remaining for the boys of Immortals. But hey, it is going to be the end of the round. Only 2 rifles down, but the reinvestments will come in strong. But it's the same thing with Dignitas. So now in the 4th round, they at least try to restrict the bleeding.
Oh, that was almost disgusting from dephh. 2 quick shots with the Sheriff, and it looked so nasty from our POV, especially with the leer in his face. But 3-0 start here, and a 4-0 start for the new boy, or the sub, the stand-in Shanks. Keep in mind, he hasn't actually played in like 3 days. He was called in as an emergency stand-in for 2 maps when Immortals did play against T1. If you didn't catch that matchup, I don't know what exactly you were doing. That was insane. Shanks played pretty well, I'm gonna be completely honest. He performed exceptionally well given the circumstances, having Never played with the Immortals lineup. I'd imagine at least maybe a couple times as a stand-in for scrims or as a tryout at some point. But he slotted in extremely well in the role of Shot Up, who traditionally on this Immortals lineup ends up playing the Reyna. So Shanks being on that Reyna, not a lot is going to be changing for the Immortals in terms of tactics. He definitely does seem to mesh well with the system that Immortals have. So we'll see if that does end up affecting them, maybe because he has some issues with them in terms of not knowing exactly what the strategies will be, if maybe that causes issues. But Neptune's created one of his own. Spike down, especially towards his B side, does create a big issue here for Dignitas, as those 2 frags from Neptune assumes all of B control. And if I'm Dignitas and I'm going back for that spike, you have to be a little bit cautious.
Oh, it's just so risky. It's just farming for frags to that extent.
30 seconds left.
Just fishing forwards, and again, wasn't really substantial in a sense. He, of course, wanted to clear out at least some sort of path for his teammates. But in the end of things, again, Dignitas in such a rough scenario in terms of economy.
10 seconds left.
So in the end, they have to save. They would have preferred that 3rd rifle, but again, is what it is. Round will be ending. Shanks again. Sub in for Shot Up. And still will be able to find dephh. And that wasn't even a headshot through that little wall there. That was a haircut of sorts. Big frag. As now only 1 rifle gets saved up from that last round. Pistols will be upgraded just to try to play around it to an extent. But this is really where the dynamic of attacking side split really starts to come into fruition, where, again, it's just too hard to play up.
4-0 for Immortals. I think that's expected on the defensive half. So far, so good. The last time they met, it did go the way of Immortals. 7-13. So maybe history will repeat itself. Maybe Dignitas can pull something back. Who knows? The first map was uncertain. This one is even more so. They have minimal weapons. MAKKA seems to be the only one with a real rifle and armor, especially with that utility he's got. The rest, though, Stingers, the assortment of all different weird economic or eco guns as the rush comes in. Shanks backs away. He's got Genghsta right in front. He's taking the bait. And Genghsta, he's actually netted 2 frags there. Shanks won't be able to get much, but Neptune is sure to arrive in the nick of time. 3 frags for him to round things off, and a 5-0 lead Immortals have amassed. Again, though, Dignitas, they didn't have the right guns. They definitely didn't have the economy to buy those guns. But now, because it is the 5th round, or the 6th round that will now pass, they should be able to get something going. And yeah, Vandals, Phantoms, this will be a big round for them. It'll be the first rifle v rifle round and a really true test to see if Dignitas can hold on to this first half before it starts to run away.
Yes, this should do. No more charges left. That goes there.
All right. I think we're good now, Sully. Again, just small fixes. See if it can do anything. But hey, we do move on into our round. Into our next round, where at this point, Dignitas does at least have a little bit better of a setup, to say the very least. But it's still very much more spread, man. Still a default, and still an early frag. Immortals up in a man advantage early on in this round once again, and now we're seeing what is a split over towards the A site, but they haven't exactly executed just yet. They're just waiting for what would be the setup, waiting for the call out, and indeed he comes in. jcStani with a good paranoia. The showstopper is going to be able to take down Orderus. Now around the corner, jcStani had been waiting for a little while there, and now Sob 1v5. He's going to be able to catch one. Oh my god! This raid down! They line up for him, and they almost line up for him again. Now he only has 30. Still has the ulti ready. Could be able to pull it out at any point, but Genghsta still looking over there in the corner. That would have been monumental for Som. But Lord, man, it just didn't come to fruition at the very end. Still, the score is 6-0.
It is so uncomfortably close as well. If Psalm could have instead maybe got the heal off, maybe over the dismiss, it would have been big, but I understand why he went for it. Danger was imminent, had to make the quick decision. What a clutch it would have been. Psalm nearly has all 5 of them line up because they're all funneling out of heaven. How insane of a play would that have been? Dignitas So close. But it feels so far. For now, 6-0 to kick it off, and Immortals definitely looking a little bit confident. We have something to draw back on the last time they played. 7-5 was the first half with Immortals on the defense. So, Dignitas, you got to get around here at some point. Killjoy ultimate goes in, that'll lock it down, but that only really pushes them back only so far. Look, they're right on the mount the defender spawn. This lockdown, I hate to say it, it's basically useless. They enter back into the site almost instantaneously, but a great flash from the breach sends them looking the wrong way, and they have 2 frags to play with. jmoh's made this rotation from the heavens. There is a flank from jcStani, but that has been nullified, and jmoh's kicked us off with 1, but there are still so many players lurking around in this B bomb site in Genghsta. He's been smoked out, but he's been gifted a free frag. Needs a little bit more to show for, and jmoh misses his opportunity, and same with Genghsta. Psalm finishes off through the smoke, and finally Dignitas have netted their first round out of the 7 that have been played.
So finally one back for Dignitas, and it's almost funny in a sense that we're seeing yet another early streak from one team. Again, straight out of the gate, taking advantage of what would be, again, just economic resets, economic advantage, and really just overall good plays, good off angles, good holds. But now at this point, Dignitas, they do have one back, but watch out, jmoh. Getting a little bit too confident off that peak. Hate to see it. jcStani, almost exactly that same peak. Still very confident, but nobody's watching it. They don't expect it. Some... I like how the grenade, the paint shell grenade could have easily exploded right above him, but because of the splash, just did not connect. He's just chilling at the moment. And, well, the rest of Dignitas, they do group up outside of A main. It's a 2-2 split between what would be Heaven and A site. And in comes the actual interaction. Genghsta on the front line. Spray is not going to be able to connect. Genghsta once again fragging like a madman. Gets himself a 3K. And now it's a 2-on-2 retake. Neptune on top. He's exposed, both player and elbow at the moment. This could work out in their favor, but watch out for Psalm. The Empress of Darkness is online. Shanks is on skates, and Psalm, again, trying to break some ankles, actually trying to get this kill. Shanks wasn't able to take down the alarm bot earlier, and then finally, even more damage being taken through the box. Psalm, you madman. A second round for Dignitas, and it's dragged out by Psalm and the Empress.
Big play as well from Psalm. A big 4K to give Dignitas that second round, and more importantly, keep their economy afloat. And look at what it's done to the side of Immortals. Neptune on 400 credits, jmoh on 500. The heavy investments with that operator is definitely starting to tank it down just a little bit. After this, it should and has to be an eco. At least maybe at most a couple of Vandals, maybe 1 or 2 Vandals, and the rest will have to have Spectres or Stingers at best. So far, Dignitas, those 2 rounds have been the most important to giving them more success. But here was a bigger play from jcStani. He was big in the last round, but he couldn't go big again. Only 1 frag off of that engagement, and the showstopper comes out. Genghsta's got to be a little bit wary, and he has to back away. Still Orderus holding on to it, sends it down defense spawn, but gets nothing from it, and this has all been a ruse. Killjoy, dephh on the other side of the map with the spike. There's a cam inside, so he is hearing that noise triggering on and off by Neptune from middle. So there isn't a lot to play with here. He can't really invest himself towards B, and his team, while they've conceded upper A, they are still holding on to this ramp position. But other than that, Dignitas don't have any map control, and dephh is realizing that he can't risk getting spotted towards B and allowing a fast rotation, so he doubles back towards A, where Dignitas in a 4v4 are getting ready to execute with what little utility they've got left.
And again, this is just tough. Dignitas, they end up booting back over onto A, or the early interaction ended up going down.
30 seconds left.
And just like that, you have 2 people congregating the site and 2 people on a fast rotation back. This is just a rough scenario, and it could just pinch down on them. Genghsta in an off angle in the smoke, able to get 1. Shanks with 2, able to overheal 2. And now MAKKA on his lonesome in a 1v3 gets exposed by Neptune, and that's a 7th round for good old Immortals. As now Dignitas, they do have money to buy back. And man, you can't speak in absolutes just yet because Dignitas, they still have put up a fight. But again, it is so tough to play up against this defensive side of Split, man. I mean, you're seeing what is just oversweeping bounds on these choke points and just no way to make their way through.
Yeah, Immortals, I mean, especially with the fragging capabilities of Shanks. I mean, shot up individually was insane for for the Immortal side, but with Shanks stepping in, he feels like the perfect replacement for shot up in a situation like this. He's able to get aggressive. He's really good on that finger, and with the trigger, he's even better. Dashing on away. It won't exactly be a dash like you've got for the Jett, but he will be able to back out. jmoh as well, able to get one frag, so a good bait and switch, and now they know where the player in the side of B main is. Neptune with that camera, a little bit sneaky, and they don't expect it, nor does dephh expect Neptune to be so close. 4v2, and it's a really good setup here for the likes of Immortals. Opening frags found, good setup on the B bombs, like crossfires to be held, bait the Neptune to lock down B main, and MAKKA with 30 HP, and a dream to hold on to this round, but it's not going to be lasting for long. He does pick up the first, but that puts it only down to just 3, and there is Shanks waiting around the corner.
Oh, that flash good for MAKKA. The round done and dusted, and this time it was due to aggressiveness
30 seconds left.
from Immortals. If you didn't think that this team was already dangerous enough just by focusing on choke points and just focusing on anti-takes, this team just holding W is more than efficient. Now jcStani in a good angle, gonna be able to take down MAKKA. 8-2 score line. 2 more rounds left. I want to see what the buy might be like for Dignitas, or lack thereof. dephh is the only person with actual cash, and is he seriously gonna go for the hero buy? I feel like his team might tell him off real quick about it. Yeah, no, exactly that. So communication comes in. dephh can't buy. Sheriffs will go down the board, and as we head into our 11th round, Immortals looks to cook up yet another dub.
Last 2 rounds of the half, this one included. Neptune changed up the camera angle.
My eyes are down.
Never mind, it has not changed. dephh realizes where the camera is. I think he saw it as it went up, so no eyes in B main for Neptune. MAKKA, what is this space that he's generated? There is a tripwire in Genghsta. He'll have ample time to realize, oh, but he won't have ample eyesight. Taking down MAKKA, catches them full blind essentially. jmoh making a quick rotation, a TP from jcStani from that A-bomb site, and now he's below, and he's taking heads, taking lives. Orderus finds himself a bullet to the body and leaves dephh now in a 1 versus 4. He can maybe salvage a spike plant, but that tripwire will buy them some time to make the rotation. jmoh's looking to meet him up in heavens, and dephh, if he can get this frag, I'd give him a little bit of a chance, but now that he's full blinded, jmoh's got the perfect timing. 9-2 for Immortals, 1 round to go in the half.
Last round in the half.
It will have a buyback. jcStani, Shanks, Neptune, all fragging out, all hits, double digits, and it doesn't seem like they're going to be stopping anytime soon. I mean, Shanks coming into this team, you had what was a good set for him against T1, which is really funny to say because he ended up tweeting after the game that he came into it with only an hour of practice. Again, don't know if this is accurate, but only no warm-up and 3+ days without actually playing the game. So, man, it's almost incredible to me that he can just go into what would be one of the most important games for this organization and just frag out.
Yeah.
That's the pug mindset in a sense, and you love to see it. jmoh now in the back lines. You do have Immortals trying to set up. In comes the Rolling Thunder. Is going to take out at least one over towards Heaven, but there's still one on site to try to cover up. That's going to be jmoh. jmoh, that's absolutely massive. Could be able to find another one. Just left clicking, but he can't find anything. 3v4 retake for Immortals.
Oh, up in the heavens. Genghsta, they have at least this control, but that really isn't much to go with. They are trying to work their way back in. Shanks on the Empress, but no, shut down, offline now. And in comes another Neptune to feed right into the hands of dephh, and dephh mops it up with a 4K. The last player was on such low HP that it really didn't even matter. 9-3. Dignitas, they've at least salvaged something at the very end of this, first half, but heading into the second, down by 6 rounds, and considering it was a 9-3 half, they definitely have some work to do, but recoveries can be made. You're on now the defensive side of split, the more favored side of splits, and here's a chance for them. The pistol round means everything, because if truly Immortals walk away with this win, it could all be done and dusted already.
So now going forward, Sully. See if Dignitas could potentially take advantage of that dynamic that I mentioned earlier. And again, that's just speaking in absolutes. That's just speaking in trends. But at least speaking of this map, this is the only map in the current competitive map pool that would be considered a little bit more, you know, one-sided. And Immortals, they certainly did take advantage of it. But now looking forward towards what has been Immortals historically on this map, very much a little bit more consolidated, a little bit more hold W in a sense. Just trying to make their way through what would be just hard choke points and just trying to take the hard 1v1s. There's really not much more that they could do, but they have the good setups as we saw in the last game, and it's working out for them now. Neptune, Shanks, snagging up frags. Now there's only a 2-on-3 remaining here for Dignitas as the spike does go down in B. Again, they just ran an entire marathon throughout this map, so just that pathing alone is pretty funny. MAKKA, or MAKKA, chilling with a ghost, waiting for an actual approach. The fault line's not going to do much. There's no one actually in that corner. The crossfire is already set up, and this is a tall task.
He's looking down upon them. 2 players very close, could would have made easy flicks, but the double peek essentially puts him down. MAKKA no chance to win the round for Dignitas, and that was what they needed. The pistol. They have to essentially force up, and if they that'll have bigger implications. So Dignitas, it is kind of a tricky situation. Do you give them 11 or do you go for this force? It feels like they might not actually, given the fact that, well, it is just pistols, it seems that they've bought up. It does feel like also with this mid presence that they're going for something cheeky, trying to get aggressive down middle. Maybe you find an opening pick. Maybe you catch the lurker like jcStani potentially off guard, but nothing. Immortals have gone back towards the side of A camera to look on over, and jcStani's even as well, setting up some smokes. Perhaps a B fake in the works, but instead it is just a straight charge into A. jmoh to lead it, and Immortals, nobody's home. They've come on knocking, and there is nobody to answer there, so they barge their way through, spike down and everything. And Dignitas, I think they'll do what they can to try and commence a retake with the weapons they've got on to.
Here comes Orderus. Shanks around the corner with a Spectre. Just easy peasy for him, but now saw him. He already woke up a little bit in that first half and could be able to capitalize. Retake now fully underway for Dignitas, and again, all of these players just sitting up on site. It could be a lineup and a half. Shanks, however, still holding his own with the Spectre. It's too easy peasy. dephh now has a Spectre trying to put up a fight, but Shanks is just farming for frags. What on earth? He chased that down all the way from sight. He wide swung into heaven. Or, I'm sorry, wide swung into hell. And he went for the kill and elbow. This guy. 11th round for Immortals. Well, at this point, Dignitas, that will have their buy back after, again, a little bit of a purchase in the last one. Just a little bit of a half buy. Nothing too insane in a sense. But I think more importantly, you do have jcStani and Shanks still sitting up on the rifles. And if this round ends up going in their favor, it's pretty much done, Sully.
Basically, yeah, there isn't enough economy here for the likes of Dignitas to really continue pushing, but a paranoia supamen that'll try and hold them back, but it won't stop that spike from making its way on in. But Psalm can maybe have a thing to say about that. Orderus, prime position as well. Over the Cypher cage, catches one, but a trade immediately back, and Shanks is still tearing up the server. 2 versus 2. Spike yet to go down, and jcStani's got another big frag. The 2 combined, they've been deadly so far, and against just dephh, the odds of him pulling this one off does indeed seem extremely unlikely. Smoke down on the defender side, and dephh, He's got to be the aggressor. Spike has been tapped. It will now be stuck. Shanks the first fight. He's got to win, but he won't win it whatsoever. Shanks, headshot onto dephh. 12-3. One more round for Immortals to send us to a third and final map.
Here we go again, just the last ditch buy. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is an elimination game, but of course, Immortals is down 0-1, so the decider, map number 3, might be coming up in just a little bit. And it's, again, it's almost fitting that this game is just going as fast as it is, purely because of what would be kind of the dynamic for Immortals off that first map. I mean, man, they came out fast and furious against Dignitas in that second half, and it almost seemed like if they just kept being aggressive, they would be able to take up a game. But now at this point, Immortals, they're trying to do it again. They have the rifles, they have the combination, but now Som has the ulti, the Empress of Darkness, but through the smoke, jcStani, a Hail Mary, and it ends up connecting in the end zone, and now Neptune snacks down another one. It's a crossfire of frags, and just like that, Immortals, they're going to take map number 2 and push it to one last deciding map.
Pretty dominant performance from Immortals. There's nothing else to say. 13-3 on split after what was a very, very close first map. 13-11 on Haven.